My name is Jody Fanagan, and I'm the Managing Director of Fanagans Funeral Directors. Our family have been in the funeral business for almost 200 years now. We are in our 7th generation of Fanagans, still working in the business. I'm proud to say we are still Irish-owned and family-run. The Fanagan Group comprises of Carnegie, Kerwins and Nichols families. Together we're the largest funeral group in Dublin, and together we strive for excellence in funeral care. That word care is very important to us. I think most people would be familiar with what funeral directors do on a daily basis with all the organisation and the planning. But we believe it's things that not everybody might see on the day of a funeral, but we feel that can make a big difference to the family and friends. Together with our wonderful staff, we believe it's our sensitive approach and our attention to detail that can make a difference.
We were arranging a funeral for a man who was a big rally car enthusiast. When we discovered this, we suggested to his family that maybe we could involve his old rally car in the funeral itself. So we arranged for the rally car to be driven by one of his friends, and it led the hearse on the day of his funeral. So the family were delighted with this suggestion and felt that the funeral had reflected their dad's life, and the fact that we'd been able to feature his rally car in the funeral was very special to them, and they felt their dad would have really liked it.
The hearse driver will normally ask the family if they would like to pass the deceased home. The drivers will familiarise themselves with the area beforehand and plan their route accordingly. Well, we find that small things make a big difference to families on the day, such as having spring water on board in the vehicles for them, or maybe tissues, or umbrellas for inclement weather.
All the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted to make sure that I know exactly who I'm talking to, maybe a bit of background about the particular family or the circumstances. All those things are really, really important when I go to speak to the family. The guys are just all such gentlemen. I always found that they've such beautiful speaking voices on the phone, and they're just very reassuring and soothing. And I think all those little things are really, really, really important.
They normally provide me with the information about the deceased and about their relatives and friends. And with this information, a priest is able to do so much more when it comes to church services and even smaller services in the funeral homes.
I see them as very, very good on detail, and I think that that's what it's all about. The day before one of the funerals, they came and did a sort of a dry run. We made sure that the hearse fitted where it needed to fit. We made sure that everything would work, and I just always feel comfortable working with them because I know that it's just going to be perfect.
So a family came into our care, and their father, indeed husband, had passed on, but all his life was a jazz musician. So we just suggested that maybe some jazz musicians would play at the graveside, and as it turned out, an entire jazz band played at the graveside, and as a coffin was being lowered, the last thing that he would have heard was his beloved jazz music being played. The family wrote in to us some time after the funeral and thanking us, and they were just delighted that their loved one, his life was celebrated the way that he would have liked it to be celebrated.
People will quite often ring you to thank you, and it'll be something quite small. On one occasion, following a burial, the coffin spray was being placed on the grave, and the hearse driver asked one of the daughters of the deceased gentleman if she would like to take a flower from the coffin spray to keep as a memento. And a few days later she contacted us to say how much it actually had meant to her to do this, and how kind and considerate and thoughtful the driver had been to think of her at that moment. But that's what we do.